to report to you now. We also have Funmi Odude in the studio. Funmi, good morning.
Good morning, Funmi.
Good morning, guys.
Excellent stuff. Great to have you here with us. So without further ado, I think we should jump into the first set of stories for this morning. Now, our first story comes in from ThisDay newspaper. The headline reads very simply: Enugu seals federal institutions, hotels and banks over 30 billion naira tax debt. And now it seems that the Enugu government are not playing at all. They're threatening to shut down as well universities. They're saying, listen, you cannot continue to owe the government this money because we've written to you severally, we've asked you severally for these payments, and still nothing has been forthcoming.
Yes, I think this is actually a very good step. Especially what delights me more is the fact that they seem to have followed due process through the entire thing, and the sealing was not a unilateral act. They actually did go to court to obtain orders to be able to do this. And after, like you pointed out earlier, after writing several letters, after meeting with the different agencies involved, the federal institutions, the hotels, the banks, over the situation, and now they have given a private warning to University of Nigeria and Suka, and they seem to now are giving them a public warning as well. What amazes me is the fact that most of the time, particularly when it comes to paying, the tax that is to be paid is actually tax that is remitted.
Yes.
So you deduct it. I mean, that is beyond tax evasion. That's different.
That is criminal.
It's different. So you remove the money from your employees' salaries every month, and you don't give it to the government. So yeah,
you're just stealing.
You're just stealing, exactly. You're just stealing, basically. And though we have tax multiplicity of taxes is still something we're dealing with in this country. But the truth of the matter is, the number of our taxes are for remittance purposes. So even the one that is remittance, that is supposedly not coming out of your own pocket, we have a problem delivering that. I mean, withholding tax, VAT, there are things that you collect and you give.
That's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be, and we still have difficulty doing that. So it's a good step for Enugu State, and they just increased their IGR. I mean, one of the ways that we've been screaming for the different state governments to do something about increasing the internally generated revenue, and this is a way to do it. And I'm glad also that the federal institutions were not left out of it. It's time we stop treating government institutions like they can do anything and get away with it. So they seem to be owing everybody taxes, they dispose, they just seem like they refuse to pay for whatever services that they use. So yes, this is a good step in the right direction for Enugu State.
Well, good job for Enugu State, just increasing the IGR there. I like that. A little bit productive. Speaking of interesting things, I'm not sure if this is a job. It's rather amusing, and we have to deal with it. It's politics as usual. But let's go into this next story. It combines a number of stories in the papers at the moment. Fresh crisis hits APC as NPDP others form faction. There's R-APC. So, Mr. Ireti, it's very lengthy. And everyone out there in Lagos, you can go look up this rather lengthy story in the pages of the Punch newspaper. But essentially, we've been told that aggrieved members of the APC, including members of the defunct new People's Democratic Party, have announced the formation of what they've called the Reformed or Progressive Congress. All right, so we've got the NPDP, but they've split up and joined forces with some people from the original APC, who they say aggrieved members are saying, have been running a leaderless direction. Mr. Ireti, please, your thoughts on this?
Oh God.
I tried to summarize that as best as I could.
And you did a wonderful job, so much so. I don't really know if I should say anything, because I don't think there's a need to say anything, but we must talk about politicking and politicking.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going on here. And quite frankly, I don't know about you, but I'm totally confused. I mean, this has got to be so confusing. Like you said, we've got nPDP, R-APC, APC. Can we just think of new alphabets? There are. How many letters in the alphabet? 27?
Yeah. I
suspect
stop
that
it. Whatever alphabets you come up with, you must have PDP.
Let's have X, Y, Z. So that we can differentiate. But anyway, but what this does tell you, though, is that it's the same people that are moving around like chess, like chess pieces.
Yes.
And they're just going from square to square. Yeah. So what are we supposed to get excited about that? I'm not excited about anything here. But however, we must talk about what they said, because that's what we're here to do. Right. So this is why you have the R-APC. Part of their grievance is The APC, this is a quote, the APC has run a ruthless, inept and incompetent government that has failed to deliver good governance to the Nigerian people. It has, rather, imposed dictatorship, impunity, abuse of power, complete application of constitutional and statutory responsibilities, infidelity, wow, infidelity to the rule of law and constitutionalism. It has failed. I'm telling you, I'm waxing lyrical right now. I'm gonna start rapping.
Because it was a marriage.
Thank you. It has failed to ensure the security and the welfare of our people and elevated nepotism to an unacceptable height. So that's what their grievance is. They're not happy. If you can remember all of what I said, if you can't go and grab the punch, that's why they're there. And of course, like Funmi and I were discussing last downstairs. So the new APC, the NPDP, it's a small N, Lagos. Don't get it mixed up. And the small R, which is reformed. R-APC is reformed APC.
Yes.
N, which is a small N, is new PDP,
yes,
which is defunct, which was the Saraki lot, which eventually didn't make it to the N, because rather than go to the N, they went back to the A and became part of APC. So,
okay, a big question I have, right, is with this reformed APC, they're saying that they remain the authentic party and that they have no need to seek recognition.
And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true, because you're forming a new party, you've got a new name, you must get recognition, you have to get all the sign-ups.
That's why
you have to follow the process. But because, and that's why I said that it's politicking. It's politicking trying to fool the people. And that's what I don't appreciate with all of these people. I mean, literally, it's like, you know, you have those things with sand, where you just move it and all the sand moves in one way, and you move it again and all the sand moves in another way. That's what it is. But you go further down the story, and then you've got Oshiomhole, who of course didn't he become chairman recently of the APC, not R-APC, not NPDP, not PPCC, APC, right, if you're still following us. So Oshiomhole invites members of the NPDP, who actually ended up in APC, to come, let's talk. I can convince you to stay. Don't be going away from us like that. And he goes on and he says, quote, because of the dynamic nature of politics, it means that we have to put our thinking caps and deal with the issues as they arise, preferably deal with them proactively if they had already developed, and find the courage to deal with them to the best of our ability. Short, please don't go. Please don't go. That's what it is. Drama, and it's only just begun. Nigeria.
Let's keep it moving. Funmi, I'm coming to you for this next story. Let's talk about the National Executive Council that have mandated the NNPC and Finance Ministry to audit Nigeria's daily petrol usage. Now, it seems like a straightforward enough request, but according to NNPC's Chief Operating Officer for Downstream, Mr. Henry Ikemudi, it's not that easy. They're saying that there's a significant challenge in the fact that we have cross-border smuggling, so it remains pretty difficult to assess how much petrol we consume.
When I saw the story, I was actually a bit surprised that NNPC doesn't have those figures. Like,
we were all surprised
because we've heard times where they've actually put forward figures and statistics and everything.
Crisis and when everybody was trying to explain what's going on, how NNPC cannot cater for. And oil marketers, we got a lot of figures as to how much petrol we consume
every day
as a nation, and then we have this. Well, anyways, if those figures were manufactured, then it would be a good time for us to carry out a real audit and find out how much petrol we consume. Because without those figures, I'm wondering how we make decisions.
Yes.
How we are able to make decisions, like you said, regarding being able to block smuggling, even knowing how much of our petrol is going out there, and decisions regarding pricing, regarding how have we been discussing with oil marketers.
For me, do you think that this points to a level of inefficiency that perhaps we had not quite understood?
A very high level. If NNPC does not have figures as to how much petrol we consume, I mean, I'm expecting NNPC to have had figures of between so year, this is how it has increased, this is how it has reduced, like that. It's very, very
doesn't it beg the need to really probe NNPC to find out the monies that perhaps might have been misappropriated over time, where they went to?
The man that will probe NNPC successfully
Oh,
has
boy.
superpowers.
Yes, there are many requests, but the NNPC remains the
The
NNPC.
NNPC.
Let's keep it moving for me. Thank you very much for that. But let's go over talk about more court drama actually. And the headline in some of the newspapers for this particular story is rather sensational. I tried to take the least sensational headline, but from the New Telegraph we have this: a court grants request to compel the National Assembly to impeach President Buhari. Okay, so to explain what's going on here, it's a federal high court sitting in Osogbo in Osun State, and yesterday they granted an application seeking to compel the National Assembly to start the impeachment process of the president, and this was sequel to a motion that was an ex parte motion that was filed by a lawyer, Mr. Komi Ajibola, and a human rights activist, Mr. Suleiman Adeni. Now, to our legal expert in the studio, Funmi, can you take us through this, because it seems rather alarming.
It is poor reporting at its finest. It is very, very poor reporting at its finest. So, this is an application for judicial review, which means that what they're asking for is for the court to intervene to force an administrative body or a government agency to do what it's not supposed to do. Now, application suits like this have two stages.
Okay.
The first stage is the stage you've just crossed. That is the stage where you file a motion ex parte to even seek permission,
Yes.
to seek leave to file the suit.
Okay.
And you know, when I read through the story and the conclusion said the court has delivered a judgment mandating the Senate, I'm like,
no.
from a court that cannot deliver a judgment based on a motion filed without, because what a motion ex parte is, you did not notify the people that you're suing.
Yeah.
So there's no way a judgment, I mean, impossible for a final judgment to be delivered on that. So all that has happened is that the court has granted them permission to file the suit, which is the first case. So what they're going to do now is to now properly file the action, in which they are seeking the Senate to start the impeachment process. So no, there is no order.
So essentially, just so that people can really understand this is just the court saying, okay, you have grounds of some sort to go ahead with this.
So you have sufficient interest. And
yes.
there seems to be a public duty on the part of the people on the part of the Senate, well, as to the validity of the suit itself, as to whether, based on your action, I will make the orders. That hasn't
the substantive matter hasn't been
dealt with at all. All the court has said is, I think you have the right to file the suit.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
MI from Akoka, sorry, sent in a message on WhatsApp. MI says, with the real APC, will they come forward? I believe if you're going to be a bird, please be a bird. If you want to be a rat, please be a rat.
Exactly.
Don't tell us you're a bat. I'm not here for memorizing.
And then become a rat.
I'm not here for memorizing acronyms. As far as I know, there's no difference between 6 and half a dozen.
Exactly. Thank you. That's so well written. Thank you.
Cruz here says, if we cannot engage the private sector to help cover NNPC's show of shame, maybe we should hire other countries to do that. Haba, how is it a problem to even keep their own record? Something is smelling. Yeah.
And it's always stinky.
NNPC?
All over the politics place.
Let's move on very quickly to the next story. So this one is in from Punch newspaper. The headline reads 13.1 billion naira ministries projects removed from 2018 budget. About 132 projects valued at 13.16 billion naira were said to be removed from 2018 budget proposal submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari to the National Assembly. Except from this deduction that was done, Ministry of Defense suffered the highest number of projects removed from the past budget. Mr. Ireti, what's your analysis of this?
Well, we have to remember that this Buhari lamented about this, didn't he, last month? He lamented.
Yes, indeed.
I'm actually really taken by Folu's hair right now. Lagos, you so beautiful.
All right, so you two.
I was distracted by that.
Okay.
That pause.
All right, so back to the news.
Yeah, but very quickly. So Buhari lamented about this a month ago, and it's not surprising because that was his way of warning them, like, look here, I've seen what you guys have been up to, and I'm going to deal with you. And he's basically dealt with them and literally cancelled projects. Apparently, the Ministry of Defense suffered the highest number of loss or projects cancelled. 13 projects valued at 3.63 billion naira, followed by the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, 2.1 billion. While 22 and 14 projects worth 2 billion and 1.3 billion were removed, each belonging, or if you split them up, belonging to Niger Delta Communications, etc. So I'm not surprised. He did say, look, the logic, and that was what he said, this is what he said last minute, this is a quote, the logic behind the constitutional direction that budgets should be proposed by the executive is that it is the executive that knows and defines its policies and projects. Unfortunately, that has not been given much regard in what has been put in front. That has not been given much regard in what has been put in front of me. And basically he's saying, look, we've given you a budget. You were literally supposed to just, if you like, fine-tooth comb it, check it, make sure everything is okay, and ratify, if you like. But what you do, you decide to add other line items to it, and I'm basically not accepting this. Now, this is it's again symbolic of the problems that we have, in our parliament, in parliamentary issues or whatever in this country, that neither the executive nor the legislators or the arms of government, nobody trusts each other, nobody respects each other, and we will continue to have this back and forth. For once, we did hope that the budget, I mean, if there's one thing we should be able to hold sacrosanct, right, the budget. Why do you feel the need to pad?
And Mr. Ireti, any commentary really on the fact that it was the Ministry of Defence that had the highest number of projects removed, especially considering the state of insecurity we have? People are now saying, okay, let's remove the service chiefs. I mean, how can there be any continuity of work or effectiveness in that regard?
But you've got, if only we could break it down and see what they're actually spending the money on in the Ministry of Defence, because you must also remember, because it's a big spending ministry, it's also the place where you can do a lot of shenanigans, if you like.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, you can.
It's possible.
It is, because, well, remember what happened, and good luck,
We have
people.
in court
Good
at the
luck,
moment,
people.
yes.
Don't go crashing your cars, because
Yeah.
this is just reference.
But
Remember what
basically,
happened with that whole thing
yes.
when they went to South Africa? They were supposed to buy all that equipment.
Yeah.
They never actually made it here, and the money disappeared. So it is actually a ministry where you can get up to a lot of no good.
But then that's
So
a
I
question of
imagine,
oversight.
yeah. So So what I'm saying is, I imagine if we could see the line items, then we could possibly say, look, yeah, they need 10 Hawk, helicopters, they need Scud missiles or whatever. I don't even know what is it that they're buying. But what I'm saying, we need 20 Scud missiles, we need some bombs from
Or even
North Korea or whatever. But we don't know what the line items are.
Yeah, but basic allowances, basic guns. I mean, these because 3.6
Is it basic
billion,
guns?
because 3.6 billion naira. If we're
It's not
thinking about it,
heavy.
is
It's
not
not much.
It's not heavy.
I have never, I don't know what 6.3 billion naira looks like,
Yeah,
and I've never seen the line items of
But
a
your point
military.
is very well taken.
I've never seen the line items of what they buy in the Ministry of Defense or from a military man. So I can't presume to know what this could possibly mean.
Absolutely, you're correct.
Thank you very much. So moving on to Guardian newspaper, NEMA warns impending flood in Southeast. So the director of the National Emergency Management Agency, the Southeast Zonal Office, Mr. Walson Ibarakumo, has warned of impending flood in specific areas. He mentioned Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi states as reference points to this crisis. He actually said the flood risk has been forecast and people should really try to be careful and protect themselves from the changes in environmental factors. Funmi.
Ireti.
Okay.
Yes, don't worry. I can be for me when you want. It's a Thursday, isn't it? Let me be for me right now.
What is up with you?
I'm a cheeky monkey. That's what I am. Always like that. So proactive.
Yes.
They're warning us in advance. And they're just basically saying you have to, every time I say in Nigeria, when agencies are being proactive, especially have they gone around clearing all their drainage? Have they gone around making sure that rubbish isn't everywhere? I doubt they have. But hey, this man has done his job. What's his name? Mr. Wilson Ibrakumo. He's done it ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've got a few messages to try and get through. I see a lot of them flooding in. Yinka sent a message talking about daily fuel consumption. The key word is inefficiency. It is strange that the DPR does not have a daily log of how much petrol is discharged from each station on a daily basis. In each state, after all, there's a DPR in all states. There are what should be in place for everyone to have access to. But then even Falano tried to get information from the NNPC and they turned him down, claiming that they are above the law. Very interesting. Up on Twitter, meanwhile, quite a few messages. Bolarinwa Durojaye says, accurate daily PMS consumption can only be measured by solving the cross-border smuggling. GPS tracking and geofencing on all trucks loading from NNPC depots can fix this. And Vlad the Impaler says, I won't be surprised if funds meant for the construction of the long-awaited second Niger bridge are included in the amount removed. Ifeanyi Tutos, I'm not sure that's the case, considering considering that in other news, you'll see that they actually approved funds for the second Niger Bridge, and that's being announced everywhere today. But let's move on.
All right, so next one is from ThisDay newspaper. Mobile money operators urged to enforce cybersecurity levy. So the Central Bank of Nigeria has asked the mobile security operators and the PSPs, as payment service providers, to charge 0.005% levy on all electronic transactions. Funmi, your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is a portion of our Cyber Crimes Act 2015, one of our very underutilized acts, if you ask me. So in the act, there's a cybersecurity levy that is established, and the levy, apart from contributions and goodwill donations, is supposed to be funded as well by 0.005 levy on five businesses: the GSM service providers and all telecommunication companies, internet service providers, banks and other financial institutions, insurance companies, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So it's just a way to fund the cybersecurity fund, and which has its own duties and responsibilities under the act. My concern though is it sounds a bit vague. So 0.005 levy on all electronic transactions by the businesses. That's the way the act says it. With the way Nigeria operates, what I fear is that levy is going to find a way to
the consumers.
Consumer.
Thank you.
So how do we interpret it? So if I transfer money to Valentine, is that another
How much
levy?
are they going to add on it?
Minus the current charges. So is it levies that are supposed to be paid by the businesses, or is it supposed to be collected by? That's the thing.
Yeah.
We still got more messages. Since we got a bit of time, let's see if we can get to a few more. Sean Ibikule sent in a message on our YouTube live chat saying he had to log on just to look at my hair. Thank you very much. Very nice work, NPDP, R-APC. Really, people, I beg, let's keep our eyes on the ball and pay less attention to these bunch. Very interesting. While Ladipo says you can't block the smuggling of petroleum products up on WhatsApp. The margins involved can settle from the man in the depot across the borders. You can only audit from the point of sale to citizens through the use of electronic cards at petrol stations. Sanusi said so years ago. So my point is that only those who pay through electronic means should enjoy a subsidy. Well, let's see. No, we've got this from Olatumbosu, who says legislators are only. Amide says it is not enough that they get an extra 12 to 13 million monthly constituency allowance, housing allowance, clothing allowance. Now they have to rob us funds that are meant to better the lives of the masses. What more evil act could be worse than this? I guess referring to the National Assembly. So
final story here from Daily Times newspaper. What President Macron's visit means to Lagos, Governor Ambode. So our governor has said that we know that the visit from the French leader yesterday was very well welcomed by people around the country with different mixed emotions. Now, he came, he saw celebrities and all, but the governor is saying that, besides the visits being tagged as celebrating the African culture, it actually opens up a way for Lagos to be positioned as the capital of the state capital of Africa, so to speak. What's your take on this, Ms. Ireti?
That's a strange statement. I mean, if ever there was one, how is Macron coming here, opens up a way for what again? What is it? Who writes these things? Just tell me, who are these people? Honestly, yes, Macron was here. Yes, it was really nice. Yes, it was a build-up. We're all excited. Yes, I happened to be at the shrine where we waited 3 hours for him to turn up with our governor. I'm sorry, I've got to tell the truth.
Were you were there?
Yes, I was invited there. I mean, they might never invite me again because I often have a habit of telling the truth, but there it was. But it had the makings of a lovely event.
Yeah.
There were certain parts of it that touched you. The young boy, that young boy who
drew the face.
That's right. I've
Macron,
forgotten his name. But certain parts of it. But yes, Macron came here, and the man did serve in Nigeria. And of course, when you become president, but what we don't do is appreciate what the private sector are doing. Trace TV, I've got to give them props. They did a lot of work towards that. A lot of work. In fact, this all happened as a result of Trace TV in France and Trace TV in Nigeria. So I've got to give Sam a round of applause.
Yeah.
Nobody's mentioning him in this story. We're claiming it to be the new dawn for Africa. Every time a foreign president comes into our country, It's almost like we need them to validate what we already know, what we are capable of doing, what our private sector is doing, what the cultural space is doing, what the entertainment. No, we don't.
But here's a question though.
No, we don't need their validation.
Doesn't that mean now that the government we have in Lagos State actually encourages public-private partnerships that makes it possible for this kind of...
What is it they're encouraging? What can you point
What you
to?
just mentioned,
Okay, let me tell you, let me just help you out here. So I decide, okay, I start spending my efforts very quickly. Right, project manager, external. Okay, let's bring, I don't know, what's the name, Mr. in Blair to Nigeria.
Yeah.
In order for Blair to Nigeria to come to Lagos, I've got to connect with the state government, whether they like it or not. And hopefully the state governor has got to receive him. That doesn't mean you're encouraging public-private partnership. It just means that this becomes a state visit because they must.
It just means that somebody's good at their own PR.
Yes, thank you, Funmi. Folu.
I hate to be cynical, but
Yeah.
the whole thing happened because Macron enjoyed entertainment in Lagos years ago. He wanted a repeat experience.
Right.
And because he's president, the governor took it upon himself to be the host.
No, but it must. That's how it must be. I don't resent that. You can't have a whole Macron coming into our state and the state governor isn't his host. Yeah, but
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
No doubt, it was wonderful. It was excellent. But in terms of it suddenly
exactly
the open door.
What door did he open? He did not even open the door of the shrine. But very quickly, all I'm saying is that when you have really, really smart individuals, like, and I don't know Sam. I only met him that night. I didn't have anything to do with Trace TV. But as a result of what they did that night, I have now started to take a second look at Trace TV, and that's what it's opening up. It's opening them up for other things. But Macron wanted to go to the shrine that he went to 15 years ago. Stop. That was not the shrine that he went to 15 years ago. The shrine that he went to 15 years ago is the museum. So let's get our facts straight.
I think what would really have been nice to have been addressed would have been France's awful policy towards most of West Africa.
But not at Trace TV event.
I know, but I'm just pointing out, since we have so many government officials there, so I really restrained myself from commenting on this.
I agree.
While it's nice, it's very pleasant, but it's great PR for France.
I totally agree with Folu. I agree with Folu. And he was doing it for his own people, because what most people didn't know is he had done the same thing on Trace in France. And it was very popular.
And they sorted out the road overnight.
Overnight.
Oh. Yeah, that was very quick.
So this wasn't about us. He came to Africa so that the people, the immigrants in Africa, the young immigrants in Africa, in France, African, we could see that, hang on a minute, he's mixing with our brethren. No.
But Mr. Femi Kuti did talk to him, he said very frankly about policies and saying that, listen, let's try and live as one people and move forward. So big shout out to them. On that note, we are done, I believe, for this morning. Freshly Pressed has been very entertaining. Thank you, Miss Ireti. Thank you very much for coming in. Please find them up on Twitter at Sisioge Lagos is Miss Ireti, Bakare Yusuf at Funmi Odude is Funmi Odude. And thank you to everyone who sent in messages. Of course, make sure you stick around, because at 9 o'clock we are going to be opening up our phone lines as well to discuss one of these stories inside of Lagos Talks at 981. But coming up at 8:15.
Yes, we do entertainment news, entertainment stories inside of Grapevine. It's with Folu and myself,
Valentine.
Good morning.
The headlines, the stories, the news.
I was so like the song and dance of like just coming out to do African monkey dancing for.
So let me just my people.